So hello, this is all working, right. Hi, I'm Sharon. I have a day job. It's not important today, arguably ever. But this is my third time doing the 300-second session at Camp Digital, working with the brilliant Camp Digital team to bring this format to you today. Now, apologies if you have heard this origin story before, but let me briefly tell you how all of this came about. Me and some friends, so Anne, who is somewhere here in the audience, give us a wave, Anne. Hey! And Hadley, who I hope is watching at home. We were sat at the back of some event or other, typical digital event, you know, panel made up of middle-aged, white, bald men. And we were doing our usual thing of snarking about it on Twitter, sitting down the back. But being the sort of people who can't leave a problem alone, I suspect there's many of those in this room, we thought, well, why is this? And what can we do about it? You know, surely we can do better than this. So the TLDR is that event organizers are short on time, so they ask people who've spoken at stuff before. And that means you see the same people over and over and over. And some people, especially women, are reluctant to put themselves forward because of, well, patriarchy. And that becomes then a vicious cycle. So we thought, how do we break that cycle? Well, why don't we just put on our own event? Why don't we give people that first shot at speaking? Let's give them a platform and then give them an opportunity to build their own track record. And that's how 300 Seconds was born. And for the last 3 years, I've been working with the team at Camp Digital to bring the same idea here. Now, I'm biased, but I think this is the best session of the whole day. Because this isn't just a stage, it's a space. It's a space where people, often for the first time, are sharing their ideas, sparking discussion, and building the confidence that comes with standing up here and being heard and being listened to. And that really matters. Because this is how we grow our next generation of leaders. Profile, credibility, gravitas, they don't come out of nowhere. They are built one opportunity at a time. And the ideas that we share here, they don't stay here. We take them home. We take them to our workplaces, to our teams, to our offices. They become part of our industry discourse. And they shape how we think and the things that we do over the coming months and years. And that's why this format exists. Not just to support our brilliant speakers, but because every single one of us has something new to learn from listening to those new perspectives. And also I wanted to take a moment and say, let's be honest here. At a time when diversity and inclusion are under attack everywhere, it's more important than ever that we hold the line, that we make that space. So I want to give a huge credit to the team at Camp Digital, not just for holding the line, but frankly for doubling down and making this event the most inclusive ever, ensuring that we have a great diversity of people, of experience, of voices here. And I want us all to do the same today. So put your hands together for diversity of people, of thoughts, of ideas, for courage and generosity and being open to hearing something new today, and for the people being brave enough to stand up here and share that with you today. We've got 6 new speakers for you today, each bringing a fresh perspective on digital. And I know you're a supportive crowd, but I really I want hooping, I want cheering, I want clapping, like we're at the front row of Beyonce for our speakers today. So first of all, we have Hannah Smith, and she is going to talk to us today about designing the invisible parts of her service. So Hannah, I'm going to hand over to you.
Hello everyone, I'm Hannah Smith, Senior User Centre Design Manager at the Information Commissioner's Office, and I'd like to talk to you about the importance of designing the invisible elements of a service. I have to admit that a lot of what I'm going to talk about today and over the next 5 minutes is inspired by last year's Camp Digital Conference, specifically a talk by Sarah Drummond. Sarah's talk was a real light bulb moment for me. I'd been having a lot of feelings at work, like I was interfering in parts of the business I shouldn't be, or asking questions about things like systems, policies, business intent, culture, and they felt outside of my remit as a digital designer. But I knew there were really important questions to ask and really important conversations to be involved in. And Sarah's talk gave me the language to explain what I'd been doing instinctively, which was trying to design the full stack. So asking about things that we often overlook as service designers, but that shape the user experience just as much as the journey itself. I think we all know that service design isn't just about journey maps and blueprints, it's a mindset. It's about advocacy, empathy, transparency, collaboration, evidence, growth, and so much more. I'm going to make a confession, I'm pretty bad at journey mapping. I have an amazing team, thank God. but I don't think that stops me being a good service designer. It's not just about designing people's end-to-end interactions with the service. It's about designing every part of everything. If we only design the end-to-end and not the top to bottom, or full stack, as Sarah would say, if we don't design the invisible as well as the visible, we will not create the right outcomes for people, and I think that's what we all want to do. When we don't design all the elements of a service, things can go wrong. If we want to create an empathic customer service, but we give staff time-driven KPIs, then the intention of the service cannot be met, because how can you be empathic if you don't have the time to be? If we make things look great on the front end while the back end is held together with sticky tape and 1 million workarounds, the service will be ineffective and eventually fall over. If we build easy-to-use online forms but refuse to communicate delayed response times or try and push people to self-serve when they don't want to, they will be left feeling forgotten, helpless, and frustrated. If we don't get involved in the design of governance around service design projects, decisions will be made by less informed people for the wrong reasons. We will design in ways that don't allow for iteration or improvements, or we will have success metrics that don't help us truly measure how well we have met user needs. If we don't bring teams together in the design process, they won't see themselves as part of one service, which can lead to disjointed experiences and internal conflict. And if we treat accessibility as just a UX issue and not an issue that needs consideration from top to bottom, then accessibility will not be considered during critical decision making, it will be forgotten, and our services won't be inclusive. So what can we do? I think we need to get ourselves in rooms where non-digital decisions are made, and we need to believe that we belong there. Use co-design and research methods to align senior leaders on outcomes and bring staff teams into the process so they feel engaged, heard, and bought into change. We need to report regularly to decision makers in clear, simple language that shows the impact on users and the business. I think sometimes speaking business language as user-centered professionals can feel quite jarring, but Lou Down has a great blog on writing business cases for service design. We need to make sure we are measuring the right things, metrics that truly help us understand if we have achieved our intent, both for users and the business. And where you feel able, challenge the highest paid person in the room. I know that's hard, but I believe it's our job to advocate for people and for great outcomes. Just because a senior person says it's right doesn't mean that it is, and that it should be done. And a good leader should always welcome this challenge. And this challenge is always easier when you have powerful, robust evidence, and also when you have allies. So raise awareness of service design in your organization. Find people with the same mindset and help them and use them to help make an impact. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hannah. Thank you, that was great. Really familiar themes there from earlier on today about how we bring stakeholders along with us when we're trying to make change in our organizations. So next up we have Sage Su, who is going to talk to us about finding the familiar across cultures digitally. Sage, are you using this one? You're going to use that one? Cool. I will.
Yeah. Hi everyone, I'm Sage. Today I'm here to sharing my digital life here in UK. So today we are all living in a crowded digital world, right? We can see reels from Russians from Ukrainians and even from Americans. So for brands who want to explore more about their future audience in different cultures, or for minority who, like me, they want to really join in the social media platform change, So how to scroll more, how to sport more, how to find their truly belonging. This is what I want to share in today. Yeah, as you can tell, I'm a Chinese. I'm from China. Yeah, everyone would assume that I'm so good at math, but that's not true. And my part-time job at a Chinese restaurant, yeah, it would take me ages to count the evening's cash. That is a total nightmare, especially I even couldn't recognize the UK's coins. Really complicated pattern on the coins, right? But I do good at another formulas, just a different kinds of, since I used to be a social media diva, yeah, with 5 years experience, and even I used to be a content creator with over 1 million followers. But when I just came to UK, right, I feel loneliness, really. Yeah, I feel lonely on the media platforms and also the trends, and it's not always about the language, it's also about the culture in here. But luckily, I find the comments in the UK and China, they are basically the same. So look at these comments, like, I'm dying laughing. These exact jokes post out on every apps in the UK, but also in China. So this is so wrong. Where can I get one very classic one, right? So we can see the same tune in these comments. And also, the more I scroll the videos here, the more I notice how similar formats are adapted in culturally unique ways. So let's take mukbang as an example. Yeah, mukbang is a global trend where people eat big meals while keep chatting with viewers. Here's a viral video on TikTok where a content creator tries to show how different mukbang style in different country. Let's see. Oh. So as we can tell, it's all about, you know, facial expression and body language, but in reality, yeah, there are more, many different kinds of it. Let's see. So it also about, I think in reality, it's all also about what they eat too. You know, in China, mukbangs means like, in China, mukbang means rich rice dishes and regional delicacies, yeah. But in UK, mukbang means also, you know, chips and sweets. So we can see the same content format, right, mukbang, but through of the local flavor. So this is cultural adaptation. And also social media, like a cultural inspiration, always also also carries the imprint of the society where it comes from. So for minority who likes me, or for some brands, they want to explore in different cultural setting, how to immerse, or how to find belonging, or how to, you know, scroll more, how to spot more, how to find their truly belonging. So here is my experience. The first tip I would like to give is to get good use of comments. Comments is a great entry point, right? Every skills comes with comments, and those high-performing comments always point out hidden jokes. So that's what keep people keep scrolling, and that's what keep people fight where they could find funny. So you could see, we guys could see that we just need to feel funny when we scroll the video. If we couldn't find it funny, then it would be a nightmare for me, for minority. Yeah, because yes. So yeah, okay. Let's see the second one. Secret is to spot how people free the vibe in the videos. So there are 2 viral videos where locals get interviewed about their hometown. Let's see. And the reality is really interesting. It's when people knew they will be on the social media and people to see how people change. So, to start with, they might, show, in the video, they might start with a joke or complaint. But when they know they will be on social media, they will be like, showcase themselves and like switch and brag about their hometown. So you could see the same playbook, right? And across different countries, they are simple but universal. So just when you scroll, just keep spotting, and you will find the more you scroll, the more you will find the vibe, and the better you belong. And this is the last one, is to find the true belong. Yeah, just to skip some chance, that's fine. Because maybe sometimes you will see the chance you just can't relate to, and that's fine. Not every trend is meant for everyone, right? So if it doesn't feel like your taste, just skip it, it's fine. Yeah, so this is what I want to share today. Just one, if for brands who want to, get to know more about or just get to reach more audience in diverse culture, or for minority who likes me in a different cultural setting, just to jump in, spot more, and make digital life ours too. Thank you.
Awesome. There's some great advice there about spotting some trends. I personally have only just found out what mukbang is. So up next, we have Jane Bowyer, who's going to talk us about being a creative in the middle of your life, right? Fabulous. Are you handheld mic?
Oh, thank you. Okay, right, before I start this talk, I just want to say I am a graphic designer, and I do a lot of digital work, but I also do a lot of print work, if anybody remembers what that is. And so, being here today, I do have a bit of imposter syndrome. I feel like a budgie in a room of owls, so please be kind. Okay, so, hi, I am Jane, and like I said, I am a graphic designer. I'm going to talk more about that in just a minute, but I'll start by introducing what I'm going to talk about. So I'm going to talk about navigating the middle bit of a creative career. So why am I talking about this? Well, I think that the middle bit of our careers is a bit of the career journey that often gets overlooked, and I think that happens for a few different reasons. I think that everybody arrives at the middle at different times and in different ways. I think some of us feel like we should have our shit together a bit more by the time we reach the middle of our careers. But I think that everyone, no matter what stage of your career you are at, could benefit from more transparency around navigating what can often feel like the messy middle. So I've put a little disclaimer there because obviously I know that not everybody gets into the creative industries in the same way and at the same time, but I'm going to be working with some averages here, so just humour me. In the UK, about 72% of the creative industry's workforce holds a degree or higher level qualification. So if you take that into consideration, let's assume that most people start their career at 21 after finishing a 3-year BA in graphic design or whatever design-related subject. And then let's say that people retire at 66, because that's going to make the maths easier for me. That's a career span of 45 years. So if we take that number and we divide it by 3 to get the beginning, middle, and end, then the middle of our career roughly falls between the ages of 36 and 50.
So who am I and why am I talking about it? Well, last month, in fact, a month today, I turned 36. And for the last 15 years, I've been working as a graphic designer. For the last 10 of those years, I've been running my own creative practice, and I am now technically entering the middle of my career. But before I go into that, I thought I'd give you a quick overview of the first third of my career. So I graduated in 2010, just after the financial crash. Woo! And like a lot of creative people, I was told that London was the place to go if I wanted to get a job. So I did an internship down in London, but I'll be honest with you, I was too skint to work and live in London, so I came back up north. If you haven't guessed already, I'm from round here. And I got my first job working at an agency in Manchester. I worked at a couple of agencies, and I did the usual thing, progressed from junior, middleweight to senior designer. And then when I was 26 years old, I went freelance, started working for myself. I very quickly built up my own client list. I was very lucky that way, and I started my own design practice. And over the years, I just thought this was a little treat you might like at the end of the day. You know, over the last 15 years, I've worn many hats, and I think that's quite a common experience for anyone working in the creative industries. And I've said yes to a lot of things, and I've reacted to a lot of opportunities that have come my way. But now that I'm in the middle, I'm trying to take a moment to pause, reflect on things, and try and be a bit more proactive about this second act of my career. And according to research, about 1/3 of people aged between 35 and 44 expect to change their career before retirement. So I think it's fair to say that it's quite a common experience for people to feel stuck in the middle, and therefore I think it's a very good time for us to reflect on how things have gone, how things are going, and where we would like things to go in the future. And so I'd like to propose that everybody in the country, regardless if you do a creative career or anything else, should probably have something like a mid-career MOT. Thank you. Let's get it going. You could all start that. I'll design it. But yeah, I think everybody could benefit from something like this. The problem is that when you get into the middle of your career, you know, maybe your priorities have changed, it's finding the time, maybe your kind of career has shifted now to kind of helping other people with their careers, or maybe you're someone like me and you run your own company, and so therefore there's no one there to kind of do this for you. And so over the last sort of 12, 18 months, I've been thinking about this, and if I'm honest, I could talk for hours and hours on this, really, but because I've only got 5 minutes, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to go over it, I'm going to make some very, very light touch points that relate to these 3 headings, which is purpose, people, and perspective. So purpose. So for me, getting to the middle of your career is less about chasing what you thought you should be doing as defined by your lecturers and tutors at university, as defined by industry, and it's more about recognizing where your skills, your values, and your experience can show up and do the best kind of work. And for me, that now looks like building a career that is baggy enough for me to grow in. So like your favorite pair of pants, you know, you put them on in the morning, they feel great, but they're still going to feel good after you've had that really big sandwich and that Diet Coke at lunchtime. And I think for me, the middle of my career now, it's not about laser focusing in on one thing and being really rigid about what I do. As a creative, I still feel like I need that room to stretch, to grow, and to learn new things, but perhaps with a bit of a better idea now of what fits and a bit more of a clearer sense of what direction I want to head in. People. So if I had to name the most important thing that I did in the first third of my career, it wouldn't be working with a particular client or on a particular project. It would actually be the friendships that I've made and the network that I've grown. And it sounds really cheesy, but for me, friendship is the foundation of a creative practice. And I actually think friendship is probably the foundation of having a happy career as well. And now that I'm in the middle, or just entered the middle, I'm leaning on that network of people now more than ever before. And networks aren't just for jobs and favours, they're there for perspective, they're there for accountability, for honesty, sharing resources, and help navigating this next bit. And of course, when you get to the middle of your career, it isn't just about you, it's also about how you can give back to other people as well, and how you can contribute to the wider ecosystems that you are plugged into. And I really like this quote from Dr. Andreas Weber, that describes us as being less like individual warriors and more like tiny universes. And I think in order for us to have a happy and healthy and prosperous middle of our careers, I think we need to build relationships that aren't just transactional. Perspective. Graphic design will not save the world. I think that designers and design in general has a bit of a hero complex. I think that we as designers like to centre ourselves and our profession as being in the solution, so we often come in and we save the day by making everybody's stuff look good and making it all work and stuff like that. And I think it's understandable that we think this way, given that design history, and in fact design media, creative media, if you go on any blog's website that's reporting on culture, it's notoriously told through the lens of individual creatives, individual agencies, individual merit. But the problem is that when we look at design or celebrate design in this way, we ignore the wider context that our work sits in, and we also ignore the collective contribution that goes into the whole design process. And not only do I think that this way of thinking is slightly delusional, but I also think it can leave a lot of designers at all stages of your career, but maybe in the middle especially, feeling quite deflated that your impact isn't loud enough or visible enough. But I don't think that your impact has to necessarily be the most visible thing. It doesn't have to be the loudest thing in the room. And in fact, I'd sometimes argue that as a designer, it shouldn't be your contribution that is centered. So I think that the middle is a really good opportunity for us to start looking at redefining how we measure our impact and success. So are we measuring our impact and success on personal recognition, on big moments, on awards, or are we measuring it in the space that we hold, the space that we create for others, the clarity that we bring to our clients, the relationships that we've built? And so I will leave you with this mini framework to give you give yourself a mid-career MOT, and I will end by saying that the middle matters. If you've watched any decent film trilogy, the second film is always the best one. Don't come at me. It's true. And yeah, I think that the middle bit is where things get messy, it's where things get meaty, but hopefully it's also where things start to get really interesting as well. Thank you.
That was amazing. Thank you so much. Some great advice there, even for those of us who don't have a creative bone in their bodies. But brilliant advice there on navigating career. Next up, we have Prashanthi Balachander. So I'm going to hand over to you now. Thank you.
So hi everyone, I'm Bala. I'm a product manager at a fintech company called Life Moments. And today I want to talk to you about a part of the financial services industry that no one really gets excited about: performance disclosures. So no Pedro Pascal, I'm sorry. But stay with me, because turns out they might just be one of the biggest design opportunities in finance. So what exactly are performance disclosures? They are basically reports that get sent out to investors every year, telling them how their investment is doing. And we partnered with a membership organization called Tizer UK, so that stands for the Savings and Investing Alliance, United Kingdom, Vanguard, which is an investment management company, and EY CERN, which is a design consultancy. And we explored the question, how do people actually engage with performance disclosures? The answer, they don't. These reports are packed really dense with jargon and graphs and tables. So it comes as no surprise that 8 in 10 investors in our research ignored these reports entirely. But not because they're not interested. They're overwhelmed, they're confused. And investment performance disclosures are meant to increase transparency and promote informed decision making, but too often they do the opposite. They push people towards Forums, friends, social media, sources that feel more clear, even if they're less reliable. And at the same time, firms are spending a fortune producing these reports. So the design challenge is clear. How can we turn a regulatory tick box into something that is genuinely helpful? So we tested several design interventions with 500 survey participants with EY Sharon and 21 interviews from the Vanguard customer panel. Today, I'm going to take you through 4 of those design interventions. The first 2 explore how we can help people understand the terminology used in investments, and the next 2 explore how we can help people understand the performance of the investments themselves. So, first, we explored how in-page education could help investors. So we embedded information icons and education throughout the page so that people don't have to guess what discrete performance is. They don't need to click out of the page and go find out what it means. They get clarity right in the moment. And it really helped. So 95% of less confident investors said it improved their understanding, and 94% said it helped improve their confidence. Next, we also tested an AI assistant feature. So this is built on a custom RAG architecture, also known as Retrieval Augmented Generation System, which means that it basically pulls in information from the data that we feed it. This means that people can ask the AI assistant questions, and they'll get clear, personalized, but most importantly, accurate information that is important in the guardrails that exist within the financial service industry. It did similarly well to the embedded education feature on understanding and confidence, but interestingly, it did really, really well on inclusion and diversity. So 97% of women and 91% of Black and minority ethnic users said that it supported them in helping make investment decisions. And in fact, many of them actually told us that they felt comfortable asking it questions that they otherwise would be too embarrassed to do so. Let's move on to exploring how we can help people actually understand the performance of the investments themselves. So in this feature, we let people choose what they wanted to compare their investments against. So these were namely 1, comparing against inflation, 2, comparing against putting your money into cash savings, and 3, letting them set their own target for what they wanted their investment to achieve. And we found that plus 4% or plus 5% actually meant very little without any context. But saying that you're beating inflation and you're doing better than you would putting this money in a cash savings account actually meant a lot more to people. So also did extremely well in improving understanding and confidence, but notably, over a third of less confident investors said that it helped them think long-term about their investment. Last but not least, we tested a toggle that helped people switch between 3 views of data, so between a table, a graph, and a written summary. So, sorry, I'm nervous. So, this basically is also powered by AI and also built on a custom RAG architecture. And we found that 4 in 5 less confident investors said that it improved both their confidence and understanding. But interestingly, it's not just helping the less confident investors. The more experienced investors also found that they used it to cross-check their own thinking. And a version of this feature is now live with Santander, and we're working with the FCA to explore how firms can embed this in their consumer duty reporting. So we believe that good design helps people do hard things. And when it comes to money, the stakes couldn't be higher. At Life Moments, we are helping people navigate complex information. And with the new rules that just came in this week from the FCA about targeted support, we feel that features like these are more relevant than ever. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that's really important to learn about the power of design in helping people to navigate potentially complex transactions or usability issues. So next up, we have Ryan Hill, who is going to talk to us about accessibility. Ryan, why don't you come up? So you can either hold the mic or you can use the one here. And then if you want to do the clicking, you either go here or you can use this clicker here. It's up to you. They both work. Do you want to use this one or this one?
So in today's talk, I'll be talking about accessibility and how it can affect everybody. And pretty much not just with people with disabilities. And we're going to be talking about three things. What is accessibility? And how it's not just for disabled people, and why I like my job. But before we start talking, you're asking, who the hell am I? You know? I am Ryan, and I am a junior access consultant at NETSA. And my job is essentially to create accessibility audits, which to most people is quite boring. And so far, I've had a year's work experience at this, which is mostly web development. And even in web development, you have to always think about accessibility, right? Because if a certain feature isn't accessible to the user, then it's not accessible. Then I decided to work at NETSA to further my knowledge in accessibility, and I've almost got a year's worth of work experience at NETSA. Clients like DISC and Action for Children are happy with how I explain the issues with their site and explain how to make it more accessible. So, what is accessibility? Accessibility is ensuring your product is accessible to the user, which means designing it so that people with disabilities, whether with visual, hearing, physical disabilities, and visual disabilities, can use it comfortably. That includes screen readers, supporting keyboard navigation, and captions and transcripts. And there is a law, and they call it the guidelines. And the reason why it's called the guidelines is because up to AA is the law, and then after that is going above and beyond. So accessibility isn't just for disabled people, and the reason why I say that is because, say for example, if a button or a certain feature doesn't work as intended, or if the user struggles to get access to that feature in any way, it's not accessible to the user, which means you're going to lose clients. Why do I like my job in NETSA? Well, I like, and by the way, this one was totally very difficult to do. And NETSA is a joy to work at, as I get to do what I like doing, which is helping people, helping developers and clients that aren't as tech savvy to understand the issues they may not have, that they may have on their site. The second reason I chose this job is because I got disabilities. And so accessibility has always been an interest to me. even when I wanted to be a developer, I was always thinking how to improve the site in terms of accessibility for disabled people and the everyday clients. The NETSA team has been more than helpful and professional, so it has been a luxury to work here. And I am grateful for NETSA for giving me this opportunity, and thank you for listening to my talk.
Thank you. I think that's a message that many of us will take to heart, that accessibility isn't just about people with disabilities, but making our sites, our products, more usable for absolutely everyone. So last up in this session, we have Saw Nwe, who, like many of us, has taken a somewhat squiggly route through her career, and I think she's going to talk to us about that today. So I'm going to hand over to you. Yeah.
Hi everyone, my name is Saw. I am a doctor by background, now I'm working as a designer and a digital transformation consultant. 3 very different job titles, but to me they're all connected by one single thread, which is making sense of complex problems with people. I care about making services work better for the people who use them and for the people who deliver them day to day. I started my career in the NHS, delivering care at frontline in A&E, in rehab services, and in mental health. I know firsthand the reality of delivering care in systems that are stretched and fragmented. And that made me really curious about how I can go about solving those complex problems to make life easier for patients and for staff. And I was really curious about how I can make the healthcare system more sustainable. And that led me to complete my Master's in Healthcare and Design at Imperial College and the Royal College of Art. And the Master's gave me new tools, methods, and language. But more importantly, it showed me how powerful it can be when you bring so many different groups of people together to solve problems. And during that time, I could also see that digital technologies were advancing so fast. And my frontline experience on the wards told me that the organizations are not ready. They're not set up to make full use of these technologies that are coming out. And that's what led me to public digital. And now, as a transformation consultant, I work with organizations to redesign services and create the conditions for better outcomes. So all of the 3 roles that I've had so far has shaped and enriched one another. At the core is about understanding people, the world they're in, and the systems that they are having to navigate. As a doctor, you are trained to listen and to ask the right questions. And I'll always remember my medical consultant telling me the answers are always in what the people says. We are taught to recognize patterns and to co-design solutions with people. And in medicine, we act on data and feedback so that we can iterate on our medical plans to deliver best care. Now, I can't help but see parallels between this work, this clinical work, and the work that I do now in design and transformation. For example, taking a good medical history to me is like user research. What you're trying to do is trying to understand someone's context and their realities and their experiences through conversation and observation. Combining the rigor of medicine and the creativity and the empathy of design has really shaped how I now practice as a transformation consultant. At every step of my journey, I've had to learn new languages. When I moved to the UK from Myanmar, when I studied medicine in Wales, when I completed my Master's in London, and now in the world of consulting. That hasn't been easy. I went from learning medical terminologies to figuring out what agile meant. And it wasn't just language either. I had to get used to different cultures and different working conditions. One day I was taking bloods on a low secure mental health ward in Ilford, and the next I was designing workshops on Miro in an open plan office in Farringdon. And I remember when I first started at Public Digital, I wasn't sure whether there was any correct office etiquette that I should be following, because I've never worked in an office before. And I didn't know whether, when I come into the office, whether I should announce myself to everyone, or whether I should ask people if they wanted tea when I was making coffee. So, here's what I like to end on, with a call to action. We talk about wanting diversity in design and in digital, but how easy are we really making it for people with different backgrounds and lived experience to break that wall? And even when they're in, are we really setting them up to thrive and to succeed? For me, the path here wasn't straightforward. I didn't know the right words. I didn't have a design portfolio. I didn't know the right people. So, if you are in a position to help someone, here's how I think you can start. Look past someone's job titles so that you're actually understanding their skills and their lived experience that individual is actually bringing. Challenge your own assumptions and your hiring criteria to ask yourself whether these strict requirements actually reflect the work that's actually needed. Don't let them exclude great people who've got potential to grow. Offer shadowing opportunities and save ways to learn through doing. And really help people to get exposure to lots of different types of work so that they can actually practice it in real life and refine their practice, because sometimes you don't know what you don't know. If we make it easier for people to come through the doors and train them up, we will build teams that are richer, more balanced, and more representative of the world we're living in. Thank you.